A Mochi moment from Sadie, who writes, I'm not crying, you're crying. This is what I said during my first appointment with my physician at Mochi, because I didn't have to convince him I needed a GLP-1. He understood, and I felt supported, not judged. I came for the weight loss and stayed for the empathy. Thanks, Sadie. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Sadie is a Mochi member compensated for her story.
Oh, I'm not switching my team to some fancy work platform that somehow knows exactly how we work. And its AI features are literally saving us hours every day. We're big fans. And just like that, teams all around the world are falling for Monday.com. With intuitive design, seamless AI capabilities, and custom workflows, it's the work platform your team will instantly click with. Head to Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
All right, we're back with Laura Brand, Serial Killer Whisperer, and we're taking a little departure from Serial Killer Roundtable. So tell those guys that we haven't forgotten about them, but we'll probably list them on another case. But
and then while the recording's going,
they always call. They always call. And then we're also still tracking the New England serial killer case. And we're trying to track down. So if anybody, the gentleman we've been trying to reach out to, who was found in the, who confronted him,
Nathan.
and what's his name? Nathan
Rose. Yeah.
Nathan Rose. So Nathan, if you're listening to this, we'd love to have you on the podcast to talk about your experience. And but we're gonna continue to track that case because obviously it's still ongoing. And but today we wanted to kind of talk a little about, because there's a new documentary on HBO Max called The Serial Killer's Apprentice, and I guess it's based on Kathleen. Is it Kathleen or Catherine Ramsden? How do you spell it? Catherine Ramsden, who is, like Laura, a criminologist. And Laura told me just right before we started recording is that you can tell that you're right. So how did Catherine meet Elmer Wayne Henley? And he's the subject matter of this documentary, The Serial Killer's Apprentice.
Right. I had introduced, the producer of the show, or in development. So I don't want to give too much away, but his case is, there's a gray area. He was 14 years old and he was groomed by the serial killer. And to get him some help, I, gave him some contacts and vice versa. And I hooked him up with Catherine. It's now the show on HBO. Yep. But I've known him for about 11 years now. And
why did you connect him with Catherine?
Just to help him.
Dean Coral was Dean Coral was the man who basically recruited these teenagers. If people haven't seen that documentary yet, he recruited these teenagers to help kill close to what they found, 27 bodies all over southern Texas, the Houston area. And they were lots of them were buried in this storage area that was there. And it was crazy. I was watching a little bit of the documentary before we got on.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Super sad. But, now, Elmer's, he's 69, almost 70.
And how long have you been speaking to Elmer, Laura?
11 years. Yeah. So Dean was known as the Candy Man. He had a candy shop, and he recruited or went after teenagers, kind of like Bittaker.
It did remind me of that when I was watching it. It had that same feel of like he was charismatic. He had people were drawn to him, and Mr. Party Guy, and then he would say these weird things to the kids, like a dirty joke, or like
how it happens is like they have the cool spot, the party spot. You can come party here. I'll give you a ride. I have candy, whatever, beer. Come hang out. And teenagers just don't understand this is a predator.
Of course not. I did have a question though, because it did remind me so much of Bittaker in that sense, where he was like, he started off to test them by telling them a dirty joke. What is that about?
grooming. It's like, they're testing to see how far they can go. So they're going to start with a dirty joke, just like I talked about with X when he said he wanted me to honk the horn. And I kept saying, I know what you're doing. And I said to him, I go, you want me to honk the horn because, it's just loud and obnoxious, right? But it's wrong, just to honk it out of no reason. Then you're going to tell me to run over a squirrel, like a dead squirrel or like a dead animal. And then you're going to tell me to run over a live squirrel. They keep wanting to up the ante until, to see how far they can take it, see how far they can groom you.
And a teenager who might not have the best boundaries because of their home life and who's nervous or just like wants to fit in, they're not going to understand what's going on.
Of course. And with, Elmer, he didn't have a father. He was 14 years old without a father. So, here's this guy, this cool older brother, but also like a father figure, which he never had coming in here.
What's the age difference between him and Dean?
I think, he was 14.
Yeah, and Dean was an adult. Mm-hmm. Had to be like, maybe in his 30s?
Yeah, I think it was the same with Bittaker, with the teenager.
Right, so it's very similar in that respect.
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bittaker playing the tapes for the teenagers and the girls screaming and stuff. He was like,
right,
to see, what they were into, how much they could take. This is a part of the grooming,
Yeah.
They're watching that reaction. They're watching your facial reactions. If you're quiet, if you're silent, if you're, cringing, or if you're not making any movements, they're watching all of that.
So Elmer was only 14 when he met Dean. So he was just struggling, it seemed like, in his life, like with his family and whatnot.
Yeah, he was just, he didn't have any purpose.
No.
And then what I thought was interesting is the fact when he killed Dean, he made it sound like they were being held captive. And when he called the cops, and it wasn't until later on, he, I guess, kind of crumbled and cracked and said that Dean made us do this. And then they started pulling body after body, and he's standing there watching this as they're doing it. They had him there watching. Mm-hmm. And it's an insane scene. If you ever pull up the archival,
he's told me in person what happened. What happened. He actually took a girl for the first time back to the farm. So it was, he's a young teenage boy, and he brought a girl back there thinking it was okay, despite what they were doing. And Dean came back and got upset, and he had another boy with him. And Dean ordered Elmer to chain the girl and the boy up. And he starts doing it. And Elmer said, the girl said to him, is this real? Like, is this really happening? And he's like, yes. And he does it. But that was when Dean told him, like, we're going to kill them. And that's when, I don't know, I guess the trance broke, the spell broke, or really a trance is what it would be called. Psychopaths are able to, quote unquote, trance their, victims. It broke. And he shot Dean. Maybe
because, also because the girl was like bringing him to reality, because he probably liked the girl and had feelings for the girl. And now he's realizing like what this guy was really doing. Maybe it was like dissociation before.
I think it was.
Because all the victims, like with most serial killers, we assume that there are young girls. These were all young men.
Young boys.
This was the first time a girl was back there. It was the first time, he finally stopped and said, no, we're not doing this. And took action.
So then he shot him and killed him.
Yes.
Yeah. But he saved the girl and the little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was saying before is if the archival, and if you check out the documentary, the fact that they let news cameras in like right up close as they were digging out these bodies. It was like,
because it was the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
Wasn't it like
there's
one
this
of
one
the
where
first
this newscaster's like, he's down like right next to the hole as they're pulling the body out.
I mean, when Ing and Lake got caught, they had like the sheriff came out with like bones in his palm of his hand. He's like, look, back then they're so shocked. It's like a mass grave, just like with him. Yeah.
Because it never had happened like that before. I mean, it was 1973. I mean,
72.
So it's just, shocking. And back then the news was different than it is now. They didn't have a 24-hour news cycle. It was a completely different situation in the 70s and the 80s with news. So anything like this would have gotten extreme coverage and would have been up close and personal for sure.
Yeah, but also because they actually was all shot on film.
Right.
They had time to kind of, so someone shot that on film, went back to the station, developed it. They looked at it, and then they decided, all right, let's put this on, showing these bodies being dug up out of here. So it was just like, it's crazy.
I mean, back then, yeah. I mean, it's crazy what they used to show on film.
So you do have empathy, at least I did when I was listening to this about Elmer, because he was a child when he got involved in this, you know, obviously not condoning murdering anyone, but you, like you said, so tell me about this trance that happens with the psychopath, that you're under the spell. We saw it with Bittaker, and we've seen it with a couple of others, Ing and Lake and the lady.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious if you can talk about that just a little bit before we get into the
recordings.
Before we get into the recordings, just so people can understand that, you know, he was a 14-year-old boy who was under the spell of this older man who was just pure evil.
Yeah, well, we're going to separate the psychopath trance from grooming because they are separate things, but almost very akin in a way. Okay, so for psychopaths, you know, with them, they love bomb. This is also can be part of grooming as well. It's like they're just going to love bomb you. You're the greatest. You're everything. You know, you're the sun, the moon, everything. I've seen this happen a million times. Even when I go into the prisons now, I will walk by cages and hear inmates saying this to people. You know, it's just part of it. It's called love bombing. But then there's also another step to that is they use that to what's called a trance. And if you look back at you know, older literature with vampires, actually, they always called vampires were kind of like the old psychopaths, like, because you know how the vampires used to come into the room and like charm them and trance them. That's actually based on psychopaths. You know, they would come in just like the killers, like an organized killer versus a disorganized killer. So like an organized killer would be like a vampire who would come in trance, where a disorganized killer would be in a frenzy like a werewolf. So back in like older mythology, that's how they like separated those two. But yeah, it's true, they do, they come in, they trance, but it is very, very similar to grooming, which is, you know, what we're seeing with this case, seeing with Bittaker, with those teenagers. I mean, it's not just love bombing, it's seeing what they can take, how they're reacting, and then they're going to up the ante, just like you saw with X, with me in the car, of like honk the horn. I know where I'm with this. You know, it's very, that's what people are always like, how does that happen? It's so subtle. You don't even know it. It's as simple as honking the horn up to run over a person.
Yeah.
It's escalating into that manner.
So the boy who, this Elmer, I'm sorry, his moral compass then doesn't exist, or is it just latent, or?
No, it definitely exists, because he wouldn't have killed Dean.
Okay.
He would have saved two people if it wasn't there.
Right. That's my point. So it's like he has a moral compass, but he was so under the spell of this man that he was groomed by him in order to kill these boys. So the grooming part is the part that I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around. Like, how does that happen? Like you said, it's very subtle, but.
Well, you had Elmer he didn't really have a father figure.
Have a father figure.
He was like roaming around the streets. He wasn't going to school apparently, and he, you know, at 14 he was smoking weed, hanging out. He had no purpose. There was no place for him to go, and then he's an easy target.
Another big factor is, you know, the frontal lobe isn't developed until 25.
No,
he's 14 years. I mean, think about, like, if we all imagine ourselves at 14 years old.
You have no idea what's going on.
Literally, no idea. Imagine, like, this. I mean, just think back to all this stupid shit we did at 14, right? No,
and who we looked up to at 14.
Right. Like, imagine.
Definitely anybody that was like 17, anybody who was older than them that gave you any attention.
Right.
You're like, oh, cool.
Awesome. You got a car. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a car. Right. Oh, come hang out at my house. We're going to party at your house.
Right.
You do whatever you want.
You think it's so cool. you're so cool because you got an older friend with a car or a house or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not thinking like you because like your frontal lobe is not developed.
No.
Truly.
It's really sad what happened to him. I felt bad for him.
It is. It is sad. It's sad for him. It's sad for, anybody who's been groomed. I mean, Bittaker, all the teenagers at Bittaker's motel, I feel bad for.
I mean, obviously, my heart goes out to the victims and their families because that is just the most horrifying.
I mean, there's 27 that I heard in the documentary, but I'm sure there's more.
That's just awful.
Because I'm sure he was killing before.
There's proven there. I mean, he's told me there's way more that just have not been recovered. Yeah.
Because he was killing before Elmer got involved.
Way before, yeah. He had another partner even before Elmer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So in these recordings here, this was done like 7 years ago, according to this. Is that accurate?
Correct.
All right. And then was this, give us some context. Was this a second conversation, a third conversation? How many, or is it first?
Well, 7 years in, 7 minus 11. So we're years in, but we're just going over stuff. But okay. Yeah, we'll just play it and.
Okay, cool.
See.
All right.
We get into it.
Just let me know when you want to stop.
Okay.
Met Dean Carroll way before you did, and he was helping with the murders way before you. But he's only charged with one murder?
He was only tried for one murder.
Okay. That's strange.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know why people don't look at that, but people just don't see it. They don't know who he is. Just like you couldn't name him.
Yeah.
Who's he talking about?
The boy.
I don't say I'm not touching if I'm
sorry.
The boy before Elmer. God, I'm forgetting his name. He just recently died. Elmer was kind of like the second boy that Dean took in, but there was a boy before Elmer.
He was the one who kind of recruited him, didn't he?
Right. And I had said to him, why is he only charged with one? And he's like, good question. I don't even really know myself.
Okay.
Davis, I think it was.
I can't remember.
Correct. In my legal interpretations, he'll have the same error that I'm going to use.
Right.
The difference is that if I prevail when I go to court, they will not be able to give me more than 99 years at a new trial.
Right.
But David originally had a life sentence, so they'll be able to give him a life sentence again.
And wait, you were 15, right, at the time of this?
15 and 16 and 17.
Yeah. You met him when you met Dean Carroll when you were 15, and then
I met him when I was 14.
I met him when you were 14, but he didn't start coercing you into the murders until you were what, 15?
Just about 4 months before I turned 16.
Wow. And him and David Brooks, they were actually going to kill you as one of the victims, right? Was both of them?
I'm fairly certain that was the original intent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, but of course, hindsight.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you got to remember that I'm the one that broke the case, and I was the one that was talking to everybody, and so I was the one that they tried first, and the one that the media was interested in, and they pumped me for all that they could, and they were done.
Yeah. It's just so fascinating how, Dean Carroll met you when you were so young and, took you under his wing and became, almost like a father figure to you, and it coerced you into all these murders. And then at the very end, when he was about to kill your friend, he finally, broke from his spell and shot and killed him at the very end. It's so unique.
Well, yeah. See, we did not know the term serial killer at the time. We didn't understand grooming.
Yeah.
None of that was extra. So.
Do you think Dean Carroll was grooming you to become a serial killer?
Well, they groom you to do what they want you to do.
Right.
That's what grooming is. That's what Jerry was doing to you when he was trying to tell you you were fat chested.
Yeah, I know.
And, that still just amazes me. He's telling you that you were buying it.
Hey, grooming happens every day, like all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
It's just the levels of manipulation are intense. Like I've seen them, I've been through it. And I know how like it starts off very, very small and it builds and builds up. And like you said, you met Dean when you were 14 and he didn't really even introduce you into the murder until you were 4 months shy of 16.
Yeah. And he didn't introduce me to that. He blindsided me with that.
What do you mean?
Well, because I thought I was getting involved in white slavery.
Wait, you thought he was going to sell you into white slavery?
No, I thought that's what he was doing with the other people.
Oh, the other guys, yeah.
And so,
what did he promise you? Money or?
Oh, let's not get too deep into this on the recorded phone call.
Oh, sorry.
He just killed a bunch of people. What could be worse than that? When he said he didn't want to get too deep into it, what was he?
Well, I'm not going to give away what he says next, but so he had thought he had a friend missing that he thought that he was told it was sold into white slavery. I don't want to give anything away.
Okay. All right, let's go back.
Okay.
What?
I understand, but I have to pull the plug here.
You can pull the plug whenever you want to. I was just curious.
Well, I understand it, but most of that is known. It's something you can find out on your own.
Right. You know what I looked into after you told me, though, I couldn't find anywhere, is where you said I'd asked you if Dean Carroll had a signature, and you had said he castrated the boys and took that as a souvenir off the bodies.
Well, no, she didn't say it was a forensic anthropologist named I can't remember her name. He didn't keep it as a souvenir. They found it buried with the body.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, buried with the bodies. That's so odd, too.
Yes, it is. And I didn't believe it until I met her and got to know her and was willing to take her word for it.
I remember this conversation. I had asked you if Dean Carroll was religious and if maybe he resented being gay, and maybe that's why that was his signature.
Yeah, I don't remember he was religious, but I believe that he came from a very conservative family that Sharon Derrick is the forensic anthropologist at Harris County.
Yeah.
Dr. Sharon Derrick. Anyway, I think that he was made to feel so guilty.
Yeah, like shameful of being gay.
Yeah. But again, I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I sit back and because I don't. That's the question that's always asked. Why did he do that? And I don't know.
He wasn't he wasn't gay like in the community. Like he wasn't out and gay, right? It was kind of like a secret.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't out gay. He's.
Was anybody like ever suspicious of him, like hanging around you and young boys, like teenage boys?
Not that I know of.
That's where the nickname, the Candyman, came from, wasn't it?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Candyman came along afterwards, later.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, I remember when I first started hearing that, I'm like, well, the Candyman was a guy named O'Brien.
Mm.
And he killed his son with poison pixie sticks.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that case.
Okay. And he was called the Candyman. And then later on, I started hearing the Candyman referred to as being Carl. And I'm like, whoa, when did that happen? I don't know when that happened.
Because I had read he used to like give you guys candy. He owned a candy shop or something.
No, that's. I think it came from a book. There was a book called The Man with the Candy, the true story of the Houston Mass Murders. And I think that's where the Candyman comes from.
Oh.
The Coral Candy Company did exist. It existed about a block away from Hamilton. No, not Hamilton. Helms Elementary School. And I actually went by there one time, but I didn't go. A little girl that I was hanging out with named Blanca Robles took me by there and said, "We go by here. There's this guy that works at this candy store, and he'll give us candy." And he did. He gave us big old chunks of baker's chocolate. I knew that's what it was because my grandfather was a baker. But that's the only time I ever went by there. Was when Blanca took me.
Is that how you met him?
No, I didn't meet him. I went with Blanca and her brother, and they knew the guy, and they begged the candy off of him, and we left.
Mm.
Yeah. But that was, by the time I was 14, that place was gone. It had been gone for years.
So then how did you meet him?
David Brooks brought him around.
Mm.
I met David Brooks in junior high school.
David Brooks is the one who introduced him. Mm-hmm. And he was the one that he was talking about earlier that got the life sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
He got a lighter sentence than him, which is kind of weird because he kind of brought Elmer in to what they were already doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is he still alive?
No, I did speak right before he died.
You did speak with him right before he died?
Mm-hmm.
What did he have to say?
Nothing much. A lot of what Elmer said with the grooming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he took us in. We were young type of thing.
Was there any like remorse or anything?
Not from, I mean, we didn't really go into it. I just was kind of hard questions, you know, same with Elmer, as you see. You know, I stay on them. I'm like hard facts, like what happened? Where did this come from? Type of thing. But yeah. But he did say like we targeted Elmer. We brought him in. Like he was a target.
Do you think they were going to plan to kill him?
Oh yeah, 100%. I
Why,
think Elmer
why
says
didn't they?
in the tape. Well, David Brooks said it to me. And then Elmer says, you know, they had they were somewhere and they kind of like he got a weird feeling, the intuition we always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, does anybody know you're here right now? And he goes, my mom. And it kind of stopped them dead in their tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he had a decent relationship with his mom because there was there's that phone call, like when they're at the scene where he pointed out the bodies in that storage shed. They let him call his mom when someone had like one of the first cell phones, like one of the old ones.
Yeah.
And they could call, I think it was a reporter or a cop. And so there's that whole conversation on the documentary, you can actually hear it.
Yeah.
And she said, "Do you want me to come down there?" And he goes, "Yes." And then the cop says, "No."
She's very sweet. I have spoken with her.
Oh, you have spoken with his mother?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's sad for her.
Yeah.
Very sad. You know, she was trying to work hard, you know, for her son, and there's no father in the picture, and she had no idea what was going on, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like nowadays, people don't know what's going on with their kids now. I mean, look at the Minneapolis shooter. I mean, like they had no clue that this kid was, or not kid, this young man had, you know, that he was depressed, that he had tons of, you know, an automatic weapon, a shotgun, and a handgun. And
how do you have all these weapons and you don't know what your kid's
all these
doing?
Rounds.
I don't understand this. That's the thing I don't understand. Like, I don't know. I'm a helicopter. I would be like, what are you doing? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, how do you have weapons? Like in your, I just don't, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
But anyway, let's go back to recording.
Yeah.
On average, you'll have to wait 31 days to see an OBGYN. And if you're dealing with an infection or outbreak, you know you need care fast. That's where WISP comes in. Connect with a U.S. licensed provider online and pick up safe, effective treatment at your local pharmacy that same day. Plus, get birth control and more delivered in all 50 states. Take control with comprehensive sexual and reproductive care, all from your phone. WISP. That's hellowisp.com. The waiting room can wait.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
It's Wednesday, Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday Season 2 is now playing only on Netflix.
It's back to school season and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask second grade teacher Mr. Torres.
Put me and just one Clorox wipe on a team? We can take on crayon smudges, sticky fingerprints on every surface, sneezes on the door handle, juice box explosion by the sink, snack crumbs, and don't even get me started on the bathroom passes.
Clorox disinfecting wipes. Teacher's #1 wipe.
Think about it. Bathroom passes.
Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
Oh, so he was just like a friend of a friend, and that's how you got to know him?
Yeah, that's how I did. Yeah, he worked with Houston Light and Fire Company, the candy store, Bingo. The candy store was owned by his family. So that's another one of the myths. That, yeah, there's a lot of myth involved in that. That doesn't really have any relation, but no one can correct it. But neither David, not really, and no one's interested in us correcting it. And there's a lot of stuff.
Well, you two are the only, pretty much the only ones the closest to him who got out.
Well, there's other people. Billy Ridinger. Billy Ridinger was closer to him than I was. I really, to be perfectly honest with you, I suspect Billy Ridinger was another member.
But there's no proof of it. But it's just a theory.
It's just a theory. It'd be interesting.
Billy, this kid Billy, was he a victim?
No, he was hanging around with them.
He was hanging around him. So is he still around, or was he a witness, or do you know?
We don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of people connected to it.
See what the grand jury testimony had.
Oh.
He testified in the grand jury.
Well, I think he was murdering, way before you came along.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, how many bodies did they find on his farm?
How many bodies did they find? I think the body counts at 30 now.
Yeah.
I think. They have, I don't know. I think it's 29 bodies, but they feel like it's 30 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to ask Sharon.
Do you think the reason they didn't kill you was because when you told them, like, my mom knows where I am or something?
Oh, yeah. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
That when David come out of the room, see, like I say, and I never looked back at that. Even later, I didn't look back. It was long after I'd been arrested and been in jail. I look back and say, wait a minute. This happened, and this is the way it happened. And when Dean had come around the counter, with the whole setup, his knife and his handcuffs, the whole thing, and when he come around the counter with me, about that time, David come barreling out of the back room, because David had disappeared in the back room. David come barreling out of the back room. He said, I need to ask you something. And I said, what? He said, are you sure you didn't tell anybody where you went? And I just looked up and said, yeah, Mom knows where I am. And within 10 minutes, I was out of that apartment. I was gone. They took me away.
Wow.
That's interesting that they just let him go like that.
Well, there's a witness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
His mother. Yeah. Knew where he was.
But then why did he go back there?
I don't know if we explore it more in this tape, but one of his friends went missing, and that's where the white slavery came into play.
God, let me see if he says something about it here.
He was looking for a friend.
But did he start grooming you after that incident?
Well, that was when I was. It was later. Later after that incident, much later after that incident.
Yeah.
Months. And I was still hanging out with David, and then I started hanging out with Dean, and we started riding around and talking, and we had discussions about religion and authority and our places in life. And now I know that's what was going on.
Yeah. What exactly would you guys talk about?
Well, he was a lot about religion, because he really wanted me to understand that there is no God.
Dean wanted you to understand there was no God.
Yes. Yeah.
So he used to preach that to you?
Say that again?
He used to preach that to you, that there was no God.
Yeah, because I was pretty set that there was, and that God determined our lives and our actions were supposed to be centered around those teachings, Christian teachings.
What would he say to you to get you to believe that there was no God? Like, what was his argument towards you?
To look at all the terrible things that's going on, and if and it gets specific, but look at the terrible things that's going on. So if there was a God, why would that happen?
It sounds like he was trying to break down like your morals and your faith.
Exactly, because it was some until later on, because I had been taught and believed that when I did something so inherently sinful that God rejected me, that He'd strike me dead.
Mm.
And it wasn't until I had done such a thing and God didn't strike me dead that I finally gave up.
So this makes sense, like how He broke down the faith and the morals is like telling you there is no God and, you know, preaching that to you and having a lot of discussions about religion. How, like, next He's going, like, I'm trying to get to the pattern where that's how He started to break you down that way. I'm trying to figure out how He started the grooming process of where He got into torture and murder. Like, how He groomed that, how He started to groom that into you, into a normalization of it.
I have to think about that.
Because it was a long progression before that even came about.
Oh, it was. And as I said, it came about backwards.
What do you mean backwards?
Well, you know, you go forward, and when you're going forward, your eyes are open.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And you see everything clearly. But when you're backing a car up, you don't see everything clearly because you're twisted around, and you know you see bits and pieces of where you're going. And you know what I'm saying? You don't see everything in a full view, but you still get where you're going.
Right.
So what had happened is I got backed into the position rather than fully led in there.
Yeah, he started like with the white slavery, like the sex trafficking.
Yeah. All right. You know what white slavery is, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You have 1 minute left.
Okay. I thought that's what I was getting involved in, and then after that first initial involvement, I backed away from it. Oh, no, it didn't feel right. You know, it just didn't. It did not sit right with my sense of right and wrong. And then the next thing he did was he jumped on a friend, and when I fought against that, he said, "Oh no, I killed this guy, and I'm going to kill this guy, and you're already involved in murder." And you already know that ignorance is no excuse in the eye of the law. So since you're already involved in murder, even though you didn't know that's what was going on, you're still guilty. And they're going to execute you. That's one reason I don't play the death penalty.
So he had really trapped you, in a sense, a young kid hearing that you're now involved in a murder, or thinking you are because he jumped on this guy.
Yes.
Thank you for using CenturyLink. Goodbye.
All right. Omega, are you there?
Yeah.
We're recording. I got Rob and Cindy on.
Who is that?
Omega.
Oh,
Can you hear him?
hi, Omega.
Well, you should loop him into the conversation and what we're talking about. See if he has any thoughts.
We just got into a big conversation about grooming out of a case out of Texas.
Out of Texas?
Mm-hmm. Now, have you ever been groomed, or have you ever seen a case of grooming in the prison?
Yes. Yeah, in multiple ways. I've seen it in multiple ways, yeah. Whether it was grooming as to be a sex victim or grooming them to, like, become a rat, too, different ways.
Can you elaborate on both? Like, what technique was used?
All right, 1 second. I'm changing headphones real quick. I'm changing headphones. Oh, shit. I want you to get ready. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like, all right, grooming is fucking boring. Grooming in prison is pretty much the same as it is on the streets. You know, like I've seen where somebody is not gay, somebody is not gay, or you would assume they're not gay or whatever, and another person pushes up on them, which is one is blatantly gay, like training or whatever, and there's like a middle person that's acting like they're not, but they're making they tend to make little innuendos, little snide remarks, like honey or something, like, hey, honey. And if you're not gay, like somebody, like a homosexual says, hi, honey, to me, I'm like, hey, what's up? I go, hey, please don't address me that way. Like, address me respectfully. Like, I'm address you respectfully. I'll call you a chick, whatever you want, but, just leave that type of stuff out of it, right? What they'll do is they'll get you to, they're like, certain people, they tend to be weaker. They'll say something to them, and they see how they respond to it. Just like in real life, they'll see how they respond to it, whether it's negative or positive. If they don't shut it down from the gate, slowly but surely, they'll start coming around like, hey, babe, start calling them babe or something like that, or bae, or you'll see them like scoot closer to the person. For instance, like the gay person, I don't even want to use the word gay because it's like a predator gay person. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying to like feel the other person out and getting closer to them physically, mentally, emotionally. And slowly but surely, you can watch it. You can watch this other person that says they're not gay forming and becoming that way. Like, I don't even want to use the word gay, but like becoming more susceptible to what they're coming out of with. Next thing you know, they're eating meals together. Sharing utensils, sharing cups, and sharing intimate conversations. And next thing you know, they're like holding hands and shit like that. It's just like on the streets. It's even though in here, like on the streets, it's more of an adult grooming a child or whatever. In here, you're still taking advantage of a person's weaker state of mind.
Well, you hit on exactly what we were just talking about. And it was an older predator going after a 14-year-old boy. And
oh wow.
Yeah, and he was gay, and he got him into that, but also into, murder at, 15, 16. Yeah.
Does he know who Elmer Wayne is?
Do you know who Elmer is? Texas? No?
No, I do not.
No. Well, he got him into murder. Everything. He groomed him. Now, Elmer didn't have a father figure, so he was kind of like on his own, 14, 15, 16.
Elmer's the gay kid?
Not really gay, but he was groomed.
Oh, the victim.
Yeah.
Victim of grooming. Victim. Okay.
Correct.
Who later became a killer.
I can totally have him kill what?
Go ahead.
Killing. Yeah.
He grew to become a killer?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that on the streets, like where, like I call it, like in my situation, we call certain shit misguided loyalty.
Call it what?
We call it being loyal to. I call it misguided loyalty.
Misguided loyalty.
Like, that's why I call it, because it's like we're loyal to, like, when you're growing up, you're loyal to your neighborhood, you're loyal to your friends, whatever. We're loyal, and the older people use that to their advantage. Like when I was growing up at the time where you couldn't give a kid life. They weren't giving kids life, so shit that the older people that wanted 18 and over that they can go to life for, they were asking us, they were like 12 and 13, hey, do this for us, and do this for the hood, homie, do this for the hood, because there's nothing they can do to us. But we go to juvenile hall for maybe a year. No matter what we did, we could go smoke somebody, and it didn't matter, because at that time they didn't have a life sentence for a minor. You just went to YA, you could get out in a couple of years, or a couple of months, or a couple of days.
So gangs also use it too.
This call and your telephone number.
That makes sense.
Recorded.
Right.
It didn't even have to. It wasn't even always gang related. It wasn't even all gang related. Like the first murders I've seen were on pedophiles. It was youngsters were used to kill the pedophiles because the older ones, if they got caught, they would get life. So they wouldn't got younger ones, 12 and 13, to do it. That did it, but it was like under the guise of, this is for the hood. This is for the hood. But the whole, like, even though it was a good thing to be done, it needed to be done no matter who did it. But it was like come to light that it was you guys were used because you were younger. We knew nothing could happen to you.
It's taking advantage.
It was like somebody else's battle. It was their battle. They like one of these guys. His brother was being molested, so he did it himself. You know what I mean? But he was scared to go into prison. So he's like, okay, I'm going to get some young shit to do it. Under the guy who, hey, homie, this is for the hood. We need this done. Go handle your business, and you get a stripe on the shoulder. You're earning your stripes now. But the whole time you're risking your freedom. Like, and I do believe pedophiles need to get knocked down, but you're risking your freedom because somebody else is scared to. They're scared to handle their own business.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know.
No, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely does. And he was saying, when I was talking to him that like the guy was telling him that, God isn't real. And trying to break down those morals. Yeah. Is it the same way you think with that?
I've also seen it again in prison where like on the yards as to one guy, he's supposed to be somebody, he carries himself a certain way, but he doesn't want to really get in trouble. And we call that, I'm scared, the other one's glad I'm scared, because the guy's glad that you don't want to get in trouble and do something to him. So he takes somebody else that might not even be from the same neighborhood, befriends him, gives him drugs, gives him food, he's sort of like a loner. He takes him under his wing, like, hey homie this, hey homie this, hey bro, hey dog, or whatever they want to call each other, and he manipulates this individual into doing the dirty work for him.
Mm.
Yep.
So this person has nothing to do with, like, it could be a person that has nothing to do with what's going on. They're just like, okay, I'm gonna do this for my new big friend here. Then when they do it, that big new friend is nowhere to be found afterwards.
It's really a predator looking for weakness, looking for somebody who wants to belong,
exactly.
Whether it's a father figure, older brother, a gang. I mean, it's all that connection. The predators are honing in on it.
Unfortunately, like in prison, a person that's weak-minded, like, if a person comes to prison, if you have like size on you, like people are going to be worried more, like, because you got a little bit of size on you, but you can be stupid. But and you're going to be exploited a little bit, it'll probably be a torpedo. But if you're weak-minded, like you're scared or you're manipulated easily, you're in good shit. Because you're going to be used to real drugs. You're going to be somebody's prison pocket. They don't want to hold you. Hey, put this up there. Do this for me. Do this for me. Do this for me. You're taking that person taking all the risk to appease somebody else that has no care for them at all. All they want, just like a predator, they want something from them.
Right.
They manipulate them to get whatever they can. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary world. But even the police do it. Like, you'll see police grooming individuals to become an
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
To become an informant? Is that what he said?
Omega?
You can also see the inmates grooming police into doing what we want them to do, like as for bringing in shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see it, like something you just watch it, you're like, okay, this is the beginning of an accident about to happen. You can the time spent, or the quality time spent between people in prison can be very dangerous when it's one-on-one. Because, like, the cop could be grooming that person to give up information, or maybe the cop wants to do business. Or, like I said, the inmate gets this cop by themselves or free staff, and what we do, like what we do as an inmate is, if I can find out something personal about this officer, I can manipulate it to the full extent. Especially if I know the area this cop lives in. I can pinpoint, like, I met a free staff when I was in San Quentin that knew my son's mother. My son's mother is a bartender. She happened to go to this, and she was talking to me while I was on a 5-day observation, and she said, something about an area. I was like, oh, you drink? She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, you drink it? You know this bar? Blah, blah, blah. She mentioned the street. Once she said that, I knew I had her. Because from the neighborhood she hangs out in, I knew the caliber of her friend. Just from that alone, so I was able to twist it and get it to go to what I wanted. Like, okay, you drink? Okay, go to this bar, mention this bartender all the drinks you wanted for free. But do this, there's going to be something split in you. As long as we have this understanding, you can drink all you want for free for life, but that envelope that's brought to you, that's an obligation you have to meet.
Nothing's free.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a trade-off.
Rooming situation. Like sometimes it can be equal, but more like with that guy in Texas, it's not usually how it is. It's usually not equal and beneficial to both sides.
Right.
Now, you guys all know that. I guarantee you guys know that as well.
Yeah.
Nothing's for free.
No.
No. And we just watched, the Karen Reed trial.
Mm-hmm.
Officer Deaver, who's everyone's talking about. The female officer
Mm-hmm.
who was called up at the commissioner's office, told to do the right thing.
Wow. Well, that's very, it's exactly what we've been talking about this whole hour, which is just this horrific thing called grooming. And you don't realize it's happening to you until it's too late, it seems like.
No.
Exactly. Like in prison, like I'm the type, if I like you, like if I associate with you, if I like you, and I'm eating, I don't want to eat by myself. So if you're sitting by me or I know you, I'm like, hey, homie, you want a burrito? And I can give it to you. But since I've been in this environment, like I had CDs. I don't have a CD player, so I don't want the CDs. This guy likes the music. I'm like, hey, bro, you want the CDs? He's like, what do you want from them? I'm like, go ahead and have them. He's like, no, I'm going to buy them. I'm like, bro, I had to explain to him there's no catch to this. Like, that's how people are so ingrained in prison, like, nothing in life is free. There's a catch to this. I was like, bro, there's no catch to this. I don't have a CD player. They're just taking the room.
Not even just
like,
prison. Predators, too. Even in the real world, like a predator goes like, oh, you want a burrito? Let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. There's always a motive.
There's an underlying motive. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they're doing.
Like a lot of people think that, like there was a guy when I was in San Quentin, this guy could draw really good. And I noticed it. And like I could draw and he could draw really good. But he had nobody taking care of him. And at that time I was very fortunate. So he was new there, so I just walked up to him into his cell, and I was a couple months away, and I gave him a whole bunch of art material, like $300 worth of art material. But I told him, like, I had to explain to him, I don't give away nothing unless I can afford to lose. I already had a bunch of stuff. I was always going to hold and losing it anyways. But I was like, I told him, hey, you can get a lot.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I'm just sketching, doing bullshit. You can make some artwork and sell it. But for a long time, he actually asked me, like, what do you want in return? He's like, hey, bro, I ain't no weirdo. But I had to laugh. So I'm like, I'm not a weirdo either, bro. But I'm like, I had to explain to him, I know what it's like to have nothing. So I wanted him to have some stuff so he can establish himself and make his own little hustle or whatever. So I was like, bro, there's no catch. Like, in that, like around that time when I really started paying attention to that, like, damn, people really don't do shit for free around here.
Mm.
I've always been fortunate and had stuff. Like, I've never been broke or nothing. So it was like a little different to me. Like, I don't ask nobody. I'm like, hey, I have all my own stuff. I don't have to ask nobody for nothing. So like, hey, bro. So like, it was weird for him. we became really good friends after that. But I was like, hey, bro, don't worry. I'm not a weirdo, dog. Like, it's good. I don't want no butt hugs or nothing. Like that. No butt. No. Nothing like that.
I think we can end on that one. No butt hugs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a perfect way to end. He clipped out right after that.
Perfect ending. But
perfect ending.
Is what he said was really profound if you really caught it,
Absolutely.
Transfers over into the gang life too. I mean,
everywhere. Everywhere. I don't know how many jobs people have been on where you sit there and like, why is this person being nice to me? Mm-hmm. Stuff like that for no reason and stuff like that. And then later you find that you're just using you for something for their own purposes.
Yeah.
And,
it feels horrible.
It's the only good thing about growing up in the Northeast is because you really have a good bullshit indicator.
Yeah, we're very suspicious of people. Like people,
New York, New England, New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's just
because we're taught at a very early age.
Intuitively, like, what do you want? Like, what are you doing this for?
Nothing's for free.
Like, we don't trust that people are just out of the kindness
of their heart. Not saying it doesn't happen to people in that area, but there's an element when you grow up in that area where everybody's kind of like on guard.
So true. Like, I swear the East Coast where we grew up, because, we all grew up. Cindy, you're from Long Island.
Yeah.
in New Jersey with Rob and then New England. And Rob, you grew up across the street from the guy from Goodfellas, which I don't even know.
Well, no, my dad did. My dad in New York. Yeah, he grew up in the same neighborhood as Henry Hill. So, but my dad was very. I mean, he was very. He grew up. He didn't grow up on the streets, but he was very street minded.
Yeah.
And then he became a salesman, and so that made him. I mean, he learned his sales manipulation techniques from on the street.
Yeah.
He was a good salesman because he knew how to bullshit people and get them to buy stuff. And, that's the skill that salesmen, never saying no, never taking no for an answer, always trying to appeal to them, trying to be your best friend, take them out for drinks, find all the weak points in their personality that they can exploit.
Right. I mean, they manipulate to a degree, but then predators take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and they always pick you when you're like down, like you're not in a good place, and they can sense it. They sense it. They know
which one doesn't have a father figure, mother figure breaking out.
It's weird how they know.
Well, it's an instinctual thing. It's no different from the animal kingdom. They always go for the weakest in the herd.
Right.
They find one that's wounded. They want the smallest, the wounded. They're not going to go chase the fastest one. They're going to go. They're going to go after the soft target.
Right.
Yeah.
Really interesting, Laura. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great how that kind of he transitions in right there with the conversation.
I think it's really interesting that you're the one that introduced Catherine to Elmer.
I haven't watched her show, but I'd wonder if the interview tapes were similar or how different they were.
Well, not. There was more of a focus. You'll have to watch it,
and
I'm curious to. I mean, I got through most of it before we, I wanted to watch it before we did this, but it was, he seemed more, what's the word I'm looking for? Forthright with you, and relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, they're always more relaxed.
There
is a second tape. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. Well,
thanks,
fantastic.
Laura. No problem.
Next week.
See you next week.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.